Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Satya Ishtarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gauravani Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare. So, can everybody hear? Yes? Sound is okay?
Up a little.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Is better?
It's good.
So first of all, it's always a pleasure to be here with all the devotees, and especially on an auspicious occasion, because we seek to attract the greatest amount of blessings and mercy from the personality who we are honoring and appealing to on our own behalf. So recently I remembered a book that I read when I was a child. It was called Alice in Wonderland. And I don't know if Indian children grow up reading Alice in Wonderland, but this book was written in 1860. And according to the statistics, it's one of the most popular books ever for children in the world. And one of the reasons why it's so popular is because it's all full of nonsense. The author understood the mind of a child and understood that children were quite happy with nonsense. And so he created these illusory pictures. This little girl who falls down a rabbit hole and enters into another world. And in that world, it's full of nonsense. Nonsense means it doesn't make any sense. She sees something and it says, please drink me. She drinks it. She becomes huge. She's looking, now what do I do? I'm bigger than everyone. Then she goes somewhere else. She says, please eat me. She eats it and she becomes insignificantly small. And she goes here and there and there and here. And she meets some very dominating people. And she also meets some very stupid people. And animals are there and so on and so on. And it's all muddled up like a dream. We all know what it's like to have a dream, and in the dream you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you're not, you're in a building, and then after that you're up high, sometimes you can fly, sometimes you're in a totally different world. So this is the nature of imagination, and this is the nature also of nonsense. It doesn't make sense. Now, in today's day and age, I was listening to Srila Prabhupada, and he was explaining how nowadays, and I think everybody will have this experience, you must go to university. Correct? You must go to university. Your children must go to university. They must get an excellent education. Without a university education, you're a useless nothing. You must go to university. And Srila Prabhupada explained that previously there was no such thing as a university. That children grew up in the village, they grew up with their parents, they grew up and they learned things in different ways. And Prabhupada said, the university, he was speaking about Vyasadeva, who was the compiler of all the Vedantic literature. He said that the university existed within his hut. His hut was his university. He learned whatever he needed to know in a very simple setting. Now, Alice in Wonderland and the university bring something to my mind. And that is that we live in a very sophisticated, complicated society. And we're asked to conform to values. We're asked to conform in our facts, what we believe. We're asked to bend our minds to accommodate the latest theory. And if we don't do these things, then we're out of pace, out of date. So sometimes even Krishna-conscious subject matters become all of a sudden very popular. For example, I just came back from Vrindavan, and Vrindavan is flooded with people. Flooded with people. You go into the street and it's like swimming. You're pushing against the crowds just to get from one place to another. And if you're so devotional that you have to see Banki Bihari, well, I don't want to tell you what you're going to have to go through to get there, to stand there, to be pushed this way and pushed that way by enthusiastic people coming to Vrindavan. So that sounds remarkable. I think a person who's not very thoughtful, just a little bit thoughtful, might say, what a wonderful thing that Vrindavan has become so popular, that people are so spiritual now. They used to be interested in all kinds of things, and now they're interested in Vrindavan. This is wonderful. However, we're asked to think deeply. And this is the problem. We have to learn how to be deep thinkers. If we're not deep thinkers, we won't understand the subtle essence within whatever is taking place. We'll only see what is on the surface. So we see all these people, yes, they're coming to Vrindavan in the hordes, and they're singing all kinds of things, and they're looking for somebody to give them liberation. They're chanting Radhe Radhe, but what do they mean when they chant Radhe Radhe? What are they asking when they say Radhe Radhe? What do they want? And genuinely we must ask ourselves this also. What do I want? Do I want a God who's going to serve my every whim? And if he doesn't give me what I want, he's irrelevant. Then I can just go down the rabbit hole and do all kinds of nonsense. I can create a life that's actually quite meaningless. Quite meaningless. And when I discover how meaningless it is, it will be too late. And that's not what we want to hear, right? We want to come together and we want to be enthused and made happy so that we all feel that yes, things are going well for us. And it's possible for things to go well for all of us. But just like you send your children, or you went yourself to university, and you studied and stayed up at night, and you worked so hard, you must work equally hard on your spiritual advancement. You must. Otherwise, you will be condemned to the Alice in Wonderland view of life. The Alice in Wonderland view of life is imagination. It's pleasant. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting in a way. But if you were going to tell your children, live by this philosophy, just nonsense, would you recommend it? Or would you recommend them to get some grounding in common sense and essentially in knowledge? And not only knowledge from the university, but knowledge of the ancient wisdom that comes almost everyone here almost everyone here, has some Indian origin. That means it comes from your origin, is from that knowledge. And if you don't take it deeply enough, you'll live your life on the surface. And one day you'll get sick, or break your leg, or die. And it will be a life not well lived. So when I was looking at the people in Vrindavan, I thought, if they were coming here and they were searching for knowledge, it was very auspicious. But if they're only coming there for just a social flutter by, then it's not so auspicious, because they knock over the trees, they need parking space, knock down the trees, they need new guest houses because we need to make money, Vrindavan investments, so we knock down the old buildings even. But mostly we cover up all the sanctified places of Vrindavan for the benefit of human beings, not for the benefit of Krishna, and not for the benefit of understanding what is the purpose of our life. So when I was coming here today, I was thinking to myself, what am I going to say? I'm tired, I came back from a busy trip, nothing is sort of in the front of my mind that I want to share. And then when I heard Prabhu saying, just by doing any little service for Lord Nityananda, you can get love for Krishna. I thought to myself, I need to unpack that. I need to understand what that means. Does that just mean that if I put some money in the hundi, I'll get love of Krishna? And why? Ask yourself a lot of questions and search for the answers. Ask yourself a lot of questions and you will go very quickly in your spiritual life. Why will I get love of Krishna from Nityananda Prabhu? So then the question arises also, what is love of Krishna? What is it that I'm supposed to get? Well, how will I know if I have it or not? Sort of like light up like a light bulb when you turn it on. What's going to happen to me? What should I anticipate? How will I know if it's working? So these questions bring us immediately to ask, where can we get very authoritative understanding of these points? Where can we go that we can find answers that will be so substantial that you can't just say, oh, that's your opinion. My opinion is different. Oh, that's your religion. Oh, my religion is different. We don't believe that. In my family, we do such and such. Where do we go to get this firm spiritual guidance, knowledge, and tattva from?
Temples?
Temple, thank you. We have somebody here who's listening very carefully. Thank you. Temple. And what do we hear in the temple? Bhagavatam class here. Two people here listening extremely well. Who is that? Yes?
Krishna consciousness.
Krishna consciousness. Krishna conscious literature. You all three were leading to my point. Thank you. Krishna conscious literature. Now, I'm going to make a confession here before I chastise you all. And that is that I also struggle with this. But we should be reading Srila Prabhupada's books regularly. We must become as learned in Srila Prabhupada's books as you aspire to be in your academic life. Otherwise, you know what's happening? It's out of balance. And if you have something that's out of balance, what happens? It falls over.
What about Prabhupada's letters?
Srila Prabhupada's letters are included in this context. So we must be trying to understand from an authoritative position why. Why this, why that, why? So having given you a good introduction, I wanted to share with you today, because it was a little difficult to get myself organized in the way I would have liked to. I went through Srila Prabhupada's folio database and placed in there Nityananda. And different excerpts came to me that I thought were very important. But I have not had the time and the patience to actually flow them together so I can tell you them in a way that I would be satisfied. But perhaps we should just dive in and hear some of them. So let us start off. This is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Was written, composed by a great personality, Kaviraj Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the 1600s-1700s. And it's considered the most authoritative book on the life and the teachings, or the philosophy, or the theology of Lord Chaitanya. And the book begins with 14 verses. And as a young devotee, as many of us would be, I avoided those verses because they looked a little complex. And I went straight for the stories. And there are many beautiful stories in this. It's a huge literature, many, many volumes. So I learnt many of the stories by heart. I used to share them with the children. We did puppet shows and plays of the stories of Lord Chaitanya. But the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya took a little more time before I was mature enough, ready enough to try to understand it. But when I did get to a point where I was ready to look at the philosophy, I found a very complete picture. A very complete picture is given of what it is and why it is that Lord Chaitanya is worshipped, Gaura Nitai, why they're worshipped with such intensity, and what they came to give us. So this is a verse from that theological section. Vande Nanta Abhutishwaryam Sri Nityanandam Ishwaram Yasye Chaya Tatswarupam Agye Napi Nirupyate. It means, let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. Opulence, that's wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity. So by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we who are fools, who don't have the capacity for deep study, perhaps, or we don't have the capacity for developing a full focus on Krishna Bhakti, devoid of other aspects of our life which are equally distracting or important. By Lord Nityananda's mercy, we can understand our identity. Now here, can I ask you a question? Do you know who you are? You say no. Do you know who you are?
My name, but I don't know my soul. So
We know our name, but we don't know our soul. Is that common for many? I know my name, but I don't really know who I am. I know the changing form and shape of my body because I look in the mirror and I see it. But I don't know the person who's existing within that changing shape and form of body. So by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you can come to understand your actual self. You can come to a point where you understand so clearly that it's It's just a part of reality for you. It's not something that is confusing or disturbing. It's quite natural. Just like we understand, for example, who is our mother and father, we understand who are our children, we understand who are our friends, we understand these things. If we could understand ourselves in the same way, that would be the mercy of Lord Nityananda. That would be his mercy. So then this philosophical point continues, and there's an explanation given by the author of who is Lord Nityananda, that he can give us that. Who is this person who can give us, just by anything we do, he can give us love. Why? Who is he? And so we hear that first of all, Lord Nityananda is identical with Balaram. Who's Balaram? Krishna's brother. Krishna's elder brother. Correct. Krishna's elder brother. So who is Lord Nityananda?
Another form of Balaram.
Another form of Balaram. Or who else is Lord Nityananda? Yes. Krishna, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Who is Lord Nityananda? Balaram. Yeah, I understand. So Balaram and Krishna have appeared on the horizon of Goda, or in other words, in West Bengal, or in Sri Mayapur Dham, where we go and we chant at this beautiful temple that's coming very slowly but very surely. And Srila Prabhupada said once that temple is established, the whole world will begin to understand who is Sri Sri Gaura and Nityananda. So who is he? He is, Krishna Das says, may Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Balaram, Nityananda Ram, be the object of my constant remembrance. He says, Shankarshan, Shesha, and the Vishnus who lie in the ocean of Karana, Garbha, and the milk ocean are portions of portions of portions of him. Now what does that mean? I'll explain to you. That Nityananda Ram, Balaram, he expands himself to perform all the activities in the spiritual world, to create the Dham, to create all the paraphernalia for Krishna, because Krishna's everything is spiritual. And then he also is responsible for creating the whole material world as well. So when we worship Narayan, when we worship all these different forms, they're all expanding from Balaram or Lord Nityananda. So this is most astonishing. We're not just worshipping a personality in isolation. This person, he's so great. We can say we respect him because we're Hare Krishnas, and other people have their own, they worship this person, that transcendental person, and so forth. But here we understand that there's a source of all these transcendental living personalities, eternal personalities, and they come from, they manifest from Lord Balaram. So there's mention further of this, but I don't want to give you too much complicated things to think about. But at least we should touch on this, that Lord Balaram is Lord Nityananda. And by the verses that are given in that book, all the world can know the truth about Lord Nityananda. That Lord Narayan is a part of a plenary part of Lord Nityananda, who is the source of all incarnations. And the ocean of Lord Nityananda's glories is infinite and unfathomable. only by His mercy can I, or all of you, only by His mercy can we touch even a drop of that mercy. Now, Srila Prabhupada spoke about Nityananda on two different occasions, 1967, I think, and 1977. He gave a appearance statement, an Avibhav presentation on Lord Nityananda. And interestingly, both times he referred to the same source. Does anyone know what Srila Prabhupada used as his reference for describing Lord Nityananda? Has anyone looked at this? Yes. Yes, correct. He used Narottam Das Thakur, who is a great acharya in our line, he used his song, Bhajan, where he describes Lord Nityananda. And he explained it, he elaborated on it. And the first point he made was that if you want to approach Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, would you like to approach Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan? Would you like to approach Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan? Would you like to approach? Would you like to approach? If you would like to approach Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, you have to first of all achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So while we were chanting before we started the class, I was thinking to myself, why? You must ask this question a lot. You must become a thinker. That means you have to ask a lot. Why? So I was thinking, why? Why?
Because we don't have access ourselves.
We don't have access ourselves. But why Lord Nityananda? Here we have another one. Yes.
He's very merciful.
He's very merciful, definitely. Excellent. Anything else? Yes?
He is the ultimate guru.
He's the ultimate guru. Yes, correct. He's the ultimate guru. Yes.
He does not look for any qualifications.
He does not look at anyone's qualifications. He himself is so inundated by love for Radha and Krishna, the love for Lord Chaitanya. It's like as if he's like all those people who are doing nonsense in Alice in Wonderland. He's completely not in touch with whether someone is good or bad, what their motives are. He doesn't care. They come to him, he will bless them. He will bless them. He will bless all of us if that is what we desire. He doesn't care about your qualification. So just imagine if you were in school, right, again, and you have this teacher, and the teacher doesn't care about your qualification. You're going to pass you anyway. You're a very popular teacher, yes? You'd enroll in that class because you're definitely going to get a good mark from this teacher, because this teacher just doesn't care. You're stupid, you're brilliant, it doesn't matter. Unless you were quite brilliant, then you might feel a little offended that all these stupid people. I've got to find somebody who really does care about me. So oftentimes it's those who feel themselves to be self-important. They're the ones who don't come to accept Lord Nityananda's blessings. But those people are the people who we have to tell that he's teacher. He's the emblem of a spiritual teacher. He's Guru. He's Guru Tattva. Guru comes as the messenger of Lord to give enlightenment. So we might think, I'm so intelligent, I know so many things, I don't need any enlightenment. But enlightenment, just think the word, it means it's lighter. Your life is lighter, the burden on your shoulders is lightened. The light in the room is greater. Anyone who was intelligent enough to think would say enlightenment is something worthwhile. And the other reason why Lord Nityananda, Heno Nitai Bine Bhai Radha Krishna Paitinai, without the mercy of Lord Nityananda you cannot approach Radha and Krishna, is because it's Lord Nityananda who will remove from the heart the strong desire to avoid Krishna at all costs and try to enjoy this world. Now, the world goes on its own perfect way, and everyone is doing just that. If you go anywhere, you'll see people who are simply trying to enjoy this world. But with the intelligence that Lord Nityananda instills in the heart, you begin to realize that this world is not our home. It's not reality. It's a reflection of reality. And in fact, to be very honest with you all, it's simply full of nonsense. It's full of nonsense. All kinds of crazy things are going on. All kinds of crazy things are going on. All kinds of selfishness is there. All kinds of materialistic drive is pushing the world closer and closer to economic and social and natural and climatic difficulties that nobody can do anything about except to wake up. Except to wake up. If you wake up, then you start wanting something real, substantial, something that's really yours and lastingly yours. And this is what Lord Nityananda is capable of giving you. He's capable of removing from the heart the desire for selfishness, because selfishness is the problem that we all suffer from. So he's capable of turning you around so that you actually become transformed into somebody who... What's the opposite of selfishness? Selfless. What form does that take? What is the opposite? Service. The opposite of selfishness is service. That we start to think, I want to learn how to serve. It's a very hard thing for me to do. I'm inherently basically selfish. I do things, but I'm expecting the result. And if the result doesn't come, then I'm going to find it very hard to do that. The result has to be. And I'm a business-minded person. I live in the material world. I'm not stupid. So I know that if I put $10 into this, I must get back 20. Yes? Everyone knows that. That's not service. That's not service. What's that?
Transaction.
Transaction or? Business. Business. And then when it accelerates out of proportion, it becomes purely greed. So that's selfishness, and we're trying to convert our heart into a place where we can actually say, I've understood. It's been hard, but I've understood that there's unlimitedly more happiness in learning how to serve than in learning how to be selfish. And I want to show an example of that to the world. And I don't know how to do it. It's not an easy thing. And therefore I need help. So where can I get my help? And here they are. And here we are. And so when these thought processes begin to work in our consciousness, then when we turn to Lord Nityananda, it's not just a kind of a vague thing that, yes, I do some service, he gives me love of God. I don't know what love of God is, and I don't really care, I'm too busy. But anyway, it would be nice. But now we say, I want to learn how to serve. I want to learn, as a step further than that, I want to learn how to love. Because worldwide today, because people are very, very developing, people can do, so many people will say the ultimate purpose of life is to learn how to love. And we don't mean to enjoy, we mean to love. So here is something for us to ask Lord Nityananda about, and Lord Nityananda is very, very happy to reciprocate with us. One last quote. Thank you for being such good listeners. Srila Nityananda Thakur, who is famous for his poetic composition known as Pratana, which means to pray, has lamented in one of his prayers. He said, "When will Lord Nityananda be merciful upon me, so that I will forget all material desires?" Srila Nityananda Thakur confirms that unless one is freed from material desires to satisfy the needs of the body and senses, one cannot understand the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna or Vrindavan. He also confirms that one cannot understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna without going through the direction of the 6 Goswamis, who are great teachers in this line. And in another verse, Narottam Das Thakur has stated that without the causeless means, like we said, someone who's intoxicated, he doesn't care if you have good qualities or bad qualities, he will give it to you. Without the causeless mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one cannot understand the loving relationship of Radha and Krishna. And so therefore we say, when we see people rushing to Vrindavan and going Radhe Radhe and singing all kinds of things that they've heard, and having a picture in their mind from a TV series or a movie or a picture they saw made up from AI, composed with all pieces of human beauty stuck together, we say, no, that's not the way to understand Vrindavan. The way to understand Vrindavan is to seek the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And the way to have a happy life, because we're all here and we're all very interested in having a happy life, is to learn how it is to serve and not to be selfish. And if we find all of that very difficult to understand or difficult to do, or it feels somewhat unattractive to us right now, still we should pray to Lord Nityananda that he will give us a next step in our journey. Because there's a famous saying that Rome wasn't built in a day. So let us all come a little closer to Sri Sri Gaurnitai and pray to them. Please, please, please help me in my journey, whatever it may be. I'm me, I'm not everybody else, and I need what I need, and I don't always know what that is. So please give me your blessings on this very, very, very auspicious day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.